This is Outnumbered. I'm Andrea Tantaros, and here with us today, Harris Faulkner. From our sister network, Fox Business's Elizabeth McDonald, also from FBN, host of Money, Melissa Francis is here. And when you're outnumbered, you can handle the situation. No doubt you can handle this situation, too. We're just good girls instead of bad guys.
Well, I have to be honest.
All right, let's get right to those Iran nuclear negotiations where the talking will apparently keep going and going and going. Iran, the U.S., and five of you first, Rob, on this one. Clock is ticking. Now, the White House seems to be moving their position. I think that because the White House has shown in past with other red lines, with other messages that they've sent dangerous countries like Syria, for example, the Iranians look to those places and say, we don't really take the White House seriously, that there's an or else if we don't comply?
Yeah, that's what they're seeing. And they know that we don't have necessarily. It seems like almost we more are worried about being liked than being feared, and the Sunnis against the Iranian-backed battlefield that we're trying to, you can break it out in four dimensions. There's so much going on.
Especially not knowing what's happening, written down on a piece of paper.
There are a couple things to friend Syria, and we know that because we're Syria together. But another thing, the UN sanctions, they want those lifted. That might be a deal breaker here.
Immediately.
Yeah. And then you've got the stockpile of Iran's nuclear fuel there, and Congress is not.
Our FBNers.
Yeah. All right. So given what Melissa just said, something just popped into my head. Are relaxed. How do you put pressure on them? Because we can't control that. Those are global sanctions. What do you do?
Well, here's the issue. The president can't. But it's, well, that's multilateral, right? So, the global.
Begin with, I mean, they're the ones that just recently on this couch, and we're trying to figure out some of the president's foreign policy achievements because he hasn't had a lot, and we posed it to our one lucky guy. In fact, I think you delivered. Also, there are reports that this could be looking more like a nuclear arms race.
Yeah,
I mean,
no kidding.
You see Israel is very mum on whether or not they would pursue a nuclear weapon. Saudi Arabia looks like they're pursuing one. So as Rob's talking, all I'm thinking is, are we going to see a nuclear arms race in the Middle East because of all of this?
Well, that's been the fear for a couple decades now.
Yeah. Question, because you've been just a highly renowned journalist for so long. You know how the media thinks.
God bless her.
My sister from another mister. No, really, if the president doesn't get a deal, do you see the media covering this fairly as part of his legacy?
I bet the media would want to cover it, too. Yeah. And for this White House, and they don't want to have to spin it. I will say this, though, because we're talking about Iran.
Going on over there.
And we're going to get into that next. And I want to ask you, too, Rob, if the president doesn't get a deal with Iran, what the military is thinking about potentially taking any action. So that's called a tease, America. That's how we tease things here on Outnumbered. ISIS terrorists releasing more.
Yeah, that was the mission that was.
It's May 2nd. It's at night. What can you tell us? Tell it so matter-of-factly. But you had to gather yourself in those moments. And the
most checked off bucket list item ever. Where do you bin Laden being one of the greatest ones, but you've been on 400 missions.
15 deployments. And people say, well, why not just another 4 years? It's like, oh, really? Another 7 deployments?
Were you ever afraid to die at any point as a Navy SEAL?
Fear. There were a few missions, the mission on May 1st being one of them, and handle that in your mind and not panic, because panic is contagious.
help but look across the couch, and I see you tearing up as he's talking.
Because there's so much gratitude.
That's okay.
You know, it is amazing what you did. You brought resolution to this, and we're grateful for you.
We're all grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob.
Special thanks to Rob O'Neill for joining us here. We're going to stay right here for Outnumbered Overtime on the web, and right after this break, happening now.